Former NASA astronaut Garrett Reisman joins me now to discuss. Thanks so much, Garrett, for joining.
Great to be back with you, Jim. How are you?
So Neil deGrasse Tyson and others have made the point that the reason they're talking about this, right, is you need an energy source on the moon if you're going to have people there for any length of time. I guess the question is, in your view, is a nuclear reactor the right energy source for that?
Well, this might be surprising, but actually I think it's a good idea. And the reason is not so much that you need it on the moon, because solar power is still available on the moon, at least in southern polar regions where there's continuous sunlight. But it's really necessary for areas of the moon where there's long lunar nights. And also, more importantly, it's necessary for Mars. If we're talking about extending astronauts traveling to Mars, then they're going to need a large source of power. And solar panels don't work great on Mars because there's lots of dust, and so that's obvious why that's not great for solar panels, but also because of the solar flux, and it follows the inverse square law. What that means is the further away you go from the sun, the weaker the solar energy gets. So when you're all the way out at Mars, your solar panels are going to be much less efficient than in around Earth orbit. So eventually, if we're talking about having a colony on Mars, nuclear power is really the way to go.
Are there any dangers with it? That would be, I think, natural question for a lot of folks watching right now, putting a nuke in effect on the moon.
There are dangers, but there's ways of mitigating those dangers. In addition to making our launch vehicles more reliable, you also can launch the reactor completely inactive, so that the result of a catastrophic failure during launch wouldn't be that bad. But you also have to look. The other reason why I think this is a good idea is where we really need nuclear reactors is here on Earth. It's a way to get us off our dependency from fossil fuels quickly, and it can scale. And we need it to address climate change. So if we invest in this technology at NASA, I think that the benefits, the spin-off benefits, will be even more important for being able to provide clean, green energy on Earth.
And you make a smart point about just the safety of getting this thing up in the air, right? You know, the concern that if the rocket were to fail, where does that nuclear fuel go? Question about timing here, right? Because I know 2027 remains the target for the Artemis program, but it's had some delays. Is it getting ahead of itself here, NASA, a bit, talking about this power source before they've proven with reliability that they can get people back on the moon?
Yes, I think my main concern actually with this whole, there's a lot of technical reasons why I think it's a good idea, but my main concern about it on the flip side is that it needs to fit into a coherent strategy as to why you need this power source on the moon. And you heard, Sean Duffy talking about how we're going to have a base on the moon. Well, the president's budget request killed the Artemis program. It gutted it basically, and talked about ending it after the very first humans land on the moon. So if you're only going to go there, plant the flag, and come back, why do you need a nuclear power? What's our strategy? Where are we going? That's very unclear. This would be a necessary technological piece of a much more ambitious strategy, but I'm not sure that that's being funded.
Yeah, such a good point. I mean, you got to put the money into it if you're going to stay. Garrett Reisman, thanks so much for joining.
My pleasure, Jim.